unironically just watched this exact vehicle jump 2 curbs in a parking lot, brake for critters, share the road. How do you stop this thing? These curbs aren't gonna hit themselves. I eat sand just a little sometimes as a snack. Quick pro tip, if someone is crying or freaking out over something minor like Wi-Fi not connecting, can't find their hat, people talking too loud, do not tell them how small or petty the problem is to make it better. They know. They would probably love to calm down. You are doing the furthest possible thing from helping. People don't have to earn expressions of feelings. I'm just gonna put it out there that if someone's freaking out about something small, they're really freaking out about something big that they're trying to deal with, or something long-term that's been building up, and that little thing is the straw that broke the camel's back. I don't know, try and give people the benefit of the doubt. Don't be the next straw on their broken back. Needed this today. People don't actually go from 0 to 60. If you think they did, you failed to notice how long they've been at 59. People don't actually go from 0 to 60. If you think they did, you failed to notice how long they've been at 59. Now that I'm studying bio, may I just say how fervently I wish my primary association with the words alpha, beta, and omega was literally anything other than what it is. My nutrition professor was talking about vitamins and said, the only reason you all even know the words alpha and omega is because of sororities. And I wanted so badly to raise my hand and be like, you're gonna be a for some reason? Please let me explain to you in depth my immediate connotations for those words. I'm in training to become a phlebotomist, and at my last class we did blood typing, and let me tell you, when I walked into the lab to see A, B, O written in massive letters on the whiteboard, I felt 6 years come off my lifespan. Once I used the phrase alpha and omega of something during a lecture, and one of the students giggled so hysterically, I knew. And I looked at her, and she looked at me, and let me tell you, this was the most profound moment of horror and understanding I've ever shared with another person. That moment when you recognize someone's from the devil's sacrament. I hate Bohemian Rhapsody by Queen. It's random nonsense. Actually, it's the story of a boy whose girlfriend left him for some other guy. He kills him, now the gang of that guy is looking for him. He goes to say goodbye to his mother before the gang finds him. The opera part is the gunfight, where the gang mocks him for being just a poor boy. They shot in the air, which is the thunderbolt and lightning. He begs, but they won't let him go, so he kills them all. So you think you can stone me and spit in my eye as he celebrates. But still, he knows he'll have to spend his life as a fugitive. He needs to get right out of here, which explains the melancholy at the end. Even though he came out alive, he'll never see his mother again. Meet Amos Dudley, a college design student that successfully aligned his teeth using clear braces he made with a 3D printer. He built his own 3D printer at home, but fixed his teeth as months went on with 12 trays he made in his college's more precise 3D printer. Clear braces can cost up to $80,000. He made his own for less than 60. So every time I go to Starbucks and they ask for my name, I always tell them Tony Stark. I'm cool. I know. Anyway, today when they called out my name and I went to collect it, I noticed the guy blatantly staring at me as he ordered his drink. I thought nothing of it and went over to get some sugar when I noticed that the guy was walking over to me, still staring right into my eyes. So by this point I was getting quite nervous and was about to ask him if I knew him when he leaned in right next to my ear and whispered, peasant. I stood there, mouth open, about to ask him what the actual when the barista called out, latte for Loki, and the guy walked over, picked up his drink, winked at me, and walked out of the door. Swear to God, I've never laughed more in a public place than I did today. I want to put spiders on their laps and see what happens. Why are people on this site so mean? This is actually really cool. That's a braid with 3 different hair colors from what looks like 3 different ethnicities, and those girls are all friends. This is a beautiful display of friendship. What is wrong with you? I want to put spiders on their laps and see what happens. Do you ever think about all the people who you might have fallen in love with if only you'd taken a different way home or stood a little longer in the bread aisle at a supermarket? All the people who might have been an integral part of your life, but instead you'll never know them. The unimaginable impact that our mundane choices have on our lives really gets to me. Think of how many times I might have if I'd made different choices. Maybe I'd be homeless, maybe I'd be famous, maybe I'd be rich. Sometimes I'm so overwhelmed by the impact of my choices that I can't choose anything at all because I'm afraid today will be the day that I make a choice that changes everything. Oh neat, the first time I heard of the concept, the guy described it to me as catastrophic functionality. He was talking about it in the context of designing robots that would go in and stop nuclear reactor meltdown. Something that would 100% destroy the robot, but they would be designed to keep functioning and fighting the meltdown for as long as possible. He had some designs where over 80% of the robot is and it was still functionally dragging its around by its one working arm because one more minute of functionality might save thousands. I've been having a few bad years mental health wise and thinking about those robots a lot. They didn't know I speak Chinese too. So I'm a white Caucasian female, but I am fluent in Mandarin, Chinese, and English. Now looking at me, you wouldn't know I can speak Mandarin, which is why I find it absolutely hysterical to mess with people when they come through my line speaking Chinese, and I understand every word they're saying. My coworkers find it especially hysterical. Okay, so the other day this Chinese couple came through my line and I asked them in English all the questions about the bags and if they had the rewards cards and all that stuff. Anyway, I started ringing up their stuff and the wife said to her husband, tell her not to bruise the bananas in Chinese. And I didn't say anything. The wife said, tell the stupid girl to go faster in Mandarin. I smiled at her and pretended like I had no idea what she was saying. She kept commenting on how my hair was like a boy's. I have short hair. It's honestly not even that short. And how her grandfather would have gone faster than I was going. All of this in Chinese. And then she said, make sure she doesn't forget the water in Chinese. And I replied in English, I won't forget the water. And I watched with enjoyment as a look of sheer terror spread across her face. As she realized I understood everything she had said before, she just stood there with her mouth open, and her husband said in Chinese, "This is why you shouldn't trash talk employees while they're standing right in front of you." And I replied in English, "He's right." They paid, the husband apologized, and left. After they walked out the door, my manager and coworker and I were laughing so hard. Even though being a cashier sucks, it sometimes makes my day a little brighter when something like this happens. 8-year-old learns how to drive from YouTube. Takes sister to McDonald's. He probably looked it up for 5 minutes, then said it was time to go. During the 1.5-mile long journey to the fast food restaurant, the boy successfully navigated railroad tracks and multiple intersections. Concerned witnesses called the police despite the fact that the young, unlicensed driver had remained under the speed limit and obeyed all other traffic laws. On pulling up at the outlet's drive-thru window, the boy used cash that he'd taken from his piggy bank to pay for the cheeseburger. Chaotic good brother. You ever just sit and realize you can't remember 80% of your childhood? Like, what happened? Who am I? Many people in the comments are saying trauma, but this is actually a very normal occurrence. It's called childhood amnesia, and it's a process which, as the brain reorganizes itself for cognitive thought that is developed in late childhood, it changes the accessibility of those memories during recall. Many childhood memories are available to the person, but they will not be remembered during regular recall activity. You have to trick your brain into remembering with different tactics. This is because there are two parts to memory, their encoding and their recall. The encoding determines their availability. Their recall determines their accessibility. The reason why trauma memory and childhood amnesia are different is in this distinction. Trauma memory is often encoded differently, bypassing to the limbic system where it is stored as intrinsic memory. It can't be recalled because it was never encoded. Childhood amnesia, however, seems to indicate that the memories are encoded, but we lose access to them as we age. This is most likely due to the development of brain structures that fundamentally change our encoding and recall of memory as we get older. This is an important distinction because trauma memory is stored in the body, like you get triggers that send your body into a cascade of uncontrollable feelings, sensations, and reactions, whereas childhood memories won't generally do that. They're just recalled at odd times with odd associations. Reblogging this because I've legit seen people freaking out when they realize that they can't remember some of their childhood, thinking they might have repressed some trauma. So you mean my brain literally looked at my whole childhood and said, "Sorry, that file type is no longer supported." Thinking about how as a kid I was afraid to sleep alone in my room because I thought a ghost lived in my closet, so every night I'd wake up and move into my parents' room to sleep on the itchy wool rug on the floor. It was a bit under their bed and I wanted to lie on it perfectly, so I'd also be a bit under the bed. But I also love to eat ice cubes. While I was up in the of the night anyway, I'd go grab an ice cube from the freezer. And then I'd sneak into their room and lie down and start crunching on my ice cube. And without fail, my dad would wake up and be like, "Are you really eating ice in here at 3 a.m. again?" Then I'd swallow the whole ice cube really fast. Anyway, anytime I think I'm ready for kids, I think about losing sleep every night because there's an 80-pound sentient creature halfway under my bed just eating ice. In 2009, a furniture manufacturer in Belgium was about to celebrate their 25th anniversary. The owner told everyone to dress casual the next day, that there would be a serious announcement and no work to be done. The nervous employees showed up to find the showroom completely empty except for a single leather sofa that they manufactured. The owner entered, told them all how much he appreciated their work, and announced that they were all getting raises. Under one condition, they had to eat the sofa. Business names in the 1800s. Primary flour. Just cement. Worldwide copper. The only gasoline you should be allowed to buy. Business names in the 1900s. Axiom. Artemis Manufacturing. Pinnacle Hygienics. Olympian Glue. Divine Yogurt. The coolest car manufacturer with the largest hog in town. Business names in the 2000s. Gooby. Turna. Klooper. Jumbly. Donger. Schnet. Pungu. Pooble. Wee-oo. Cooking spinach. This is the meme content I like to see. Let me tell you something. Chefs love memes about how a kitchen works, and this one caused my entire kitchen to riot, and my head chef sent it to all the area chefs in the company. In 1930, Helene Adelaide Shelby patented an apparatus for obtaining criminal confessions. The police put the suspect into a darkened chamber where they're confronted by a human skeleton with glowing red eyes that questions them with a voice transmitted from the interrogator behind it through a megaphone in its mouth. A camera concealed in the skull was to record the confessions. What? Confess your sins to the crime skeleton. Name this plant, please. George. I guess I got what I asked for. Sunflowers always plant in front of pea shooter. They're cheaper and less strategically valuable than attacking plants, so should act as defenses for them. Plus, the further back the attacking plants are, the more damage they can do before being eaten, so you want them way in the back. Sunflower back. Pea shooter front. Aerogel, also known as frozen smoke, is the world's lowest density solid, clocking in at 96% air. If you hold a small piece in your hand, it's practically impossible to either see or feel, but if you poke it, it's like styrofoam. It supports up to 4,000 times its own weight and can withstand a direct blast from 2 pounds of dynamite. It's also the best insulator in existence. Hello, my friends. I just wanted you all to know that the way Discord has stylized their logo text makes the letter D look like the letter that in Homebrew, which is called P and is pronounced sort of like P. In conclusion, Piss Corp, thank you for coming to my TED Talk. My friend's husband works for Discord. I had to show her this, and she had to show it to her husband. His response? The CEO is Jewish. He knew exactly what he was doing. They don't exactly take themselves too seriously. God bless.